Have you ever questioned whether you need to believe in a God to live a deeply spiritual life? What if the divine wasn't something or someone out there to worship, but a truth already alive within you? Welcome to the Noble Truth Podcast, where we explore timeless wisdom for modern seekers. In today's episode, we take a journey into one of the most radical spiritual revolutions the world has ever known. Buddhism, the religion without a god, the kamma of teaching. Why the Buddha taught without authority, but with precision. While most spiritual teachers insisted on blind obedience, the Buddha was never interested in power. He was interested in clarity. He viewed teaching as a form of action, an expression of kamma, or intentional cause and effect. In other words, every word spoken in the Dhamma had consequences, and he bore full responsibility for those consequences. Whether he was facing kings, gods, spirits, or skeptical wanderers, the Buddha answered with presence, wisdom, and skillful compassion. And he did not always answer the same way. Instead, he assessed the person, their level of understanding, and most importantly, their readiness to let go of suffering. Unlike many other teachers of his time who reused formulas and parables without deviation, the Buddha responded with what was appropriate. Not just true, but useful, timely, and liberating. The 4 ways of answering, a science of awakening. One of the most subtle yet powerful tools the Buddha used was his system of answering questions. He taught there are 4 ways to respond. Categorical answer, clear, direct, no ambiguity. Used when the question leads to wisdom and action. Analytical answer, when the questioner needs more context or clarity to understand the deeper issue. Counter-questioning, when the original question is confused or misleading, the Buddha would ask in return to guide the person to see their own misunderstanding. Putting aside, if the question was a distraction, speculative, or rooted in ego, he refused to answer. He didn't invent this method to sound wise. He used it to preserve energy and focus on what matters, ending suffering. Teaching as compassionate kamma. For the Buddha, teaching wasn't a display of intellect. It was compassion in action. When people asked him questions, he didn't think, how do I sound correct? He thought, will this help them awaken? Every answer was designed to nudge someone just a bit closer to insight, to clarity, to peace. And yet even the greatest teacher can only point the way. He cannot walk the path for us. He said it clearly. Tathagatas simply point out the way. Those who practice will be freed. Why the Buddha initially didn't want to teach. After his enlightenment, the Buddha hesitated. He thought, who would understand this? The truth he saw was too subtle, too radical. It ran against the grain of ordinary desires. But a divine being named Brahma Sahampati appeared and pleaded, please teach. There are those with little dust in their eyes. And the Buddha, out of compassion, agreed. This moment matters because it shows us something crucial. The Dhamma wasn't shared out of ego or duty. It was shared out of deep compassion. Teaching versus transforming. The Buddha knew, just because you speak the truth doesn't mean it will be heard. Some people have too many obstacles. Such old habits, doubts, karmic barriers. That's why his teachings always pointed inward, asking each listener to take responsibility for their own mind. He taught that liberation comes not from hearing, but from doing, from reflecting, from practicing. I have taught you this path. It's for you to strive. Right words, right time. The Buddha was extremely mindful about what he said. He never spoke just to impress or to please. His speech had 3 qualities. Truth, benefit, timeliness. If something was true but not useful, he stayed silent. If it was true and useful but said at the wrong time, it could do more harm than good. This is wisdom in communication. That's why the Buddha's teaching is more than philosophy. It's a living path, a way of communicating that heals, liberates, and uplifts. The sacred silence. When asked metaphysical questions like, does the self exist after death? Or is the universe eternal? The Buddha often remained silent, Why? Because some questions don't lead to awakening. They lead to speculation, distraction. Instead, he focused relentlessly on one thing, the cause of suffering and its end. This is stress. This is the origin of stress. This is the cessation of stress. This is the path leading to the cessation of stress. Everything else was Simsapa leaves in the forest. Interesting, perhaps, but not essential. The Buddha's words were medicine, not mere opinion. He spoke to heal, not to argue. He taught to liberate, not to impress. And in every teaching, he left behind a challenge and a blessing. May you see for yourself. May you walk the path. May you be free. If this episode opened your heart or sharpened your mind, we invite you to subscribe to the Noble Truth Podcast. Share your thoughts below. What does responsible speech mean to you? And until next time, may you speak truth with compassion and listen with a mind ready to awaken.